Hello everyone, this is our group video assignment presentation for the linear algebra. Our group project application of linear algebra, and the chosen topic was chemical reaction. So the group members, me myself, Arsy Mathavan, metric number 273989.
My name is SHARMINI MARAN and my metric number is 273976.
My name is NAGGARITA and my matrix number is 273898.
My name is Chong and my matrix number is 273963.
My name is FADZHAN ZOKRI and my matrix number is 264913.
In this project, we apply the linear algebra method on some chemical equations for their balancing. All chemical equations balanced here appears in many chemistry textbooks, and they are chosen with an intention to balance them using matrix algebra by method of Gaussian elimination method, giving us an upper triangular matrix or echelon matrix. To this end, we begin with the examples immediately.
Okay, question 1. We have an equation here, SiCl4 H2O, and we get H4SiO4 plus HCl. So it's WSiCl4 plus X H2O, and we get YH4SiO4 plus Z HCl. So for Si, W is equals to Y. For Cl, 4W equals to Z. H, 2X equals to 4Y plus Z. And for O is X equals to 4Y. So we get 4 equation. W minus Y equals to 0. 4W minus Z is equals to 0. 2X minus 4Y minus Z is equals to 0. And X minus 4Y is equals to 0. So we convert all this equation into the matrix form, and we get 1 0 negative 1 0 4 0 0 negative 1 0 2 negative 4 negative 1 0 1 negative 4 0. So we find the pivot in the first column in the first row, which is 1, and we multiply the first row by 4, subtract the first row from the second row, and restore it to how it was in the first matrix, and then find the pivot in the second column and swap it with the fourth and second row. Then multiply the second row by 2, subtract the second row from the third row and restore it back, and make the pivot in the third column by dividing the third row by 4. Then multiply the third row by negative 1, subtract the third row from the first row and restore it. Then multiply the third row by negative 4 and subtract the third row from the second row. Then multiply the third row by negative 1 and subtract the third row from the fourth row and restore it back again. So you'll get the matrix here. So W, we get negative 1 over 4, X we get Z, and for Y we get 1 over 4 Z. So if Z is equals to 4, then W is equals to 1, X equals to 4, and Y is equals to 1. So we'll get the equation SiCl4 plus 4H2O, and we get H4SiO4 plus 4HCl. That's all.
Okay, for question 2, we got a chemical equation which is C7H6O2 plus O2, then equals to CO2 plus H2O, and then WC7H6O2 plus XO2 equals to YCO2 plus ZH2O. Okay, so C equals to 7W equals Y, and then H equals to 6W equals 2Z, and then O equals to 2W plus 2X equals to 2Y plus Z. So we have three equations here. 7W minus Y equals to 0, and then 6W minus 2Z equals to 0, and the last one is 2W plus 2X minus 2Y minus Z equals to 0. Okay, and then we turn them into matrix form. Then we can see that the first row is 7, 0, minus 1. 7, 0, negative 1, 0. Second row is 6, 0, 0, negative 2. And the third row is 2, 2, negative 2, negative 1. Okay, so the first step, we make the pivot in the first column by dividing the first row by 7. And then we multiply the first row by 6. Then we subtract the first row from the second row and restore it. Then we multiply the first row by 2. Then we subtract the first row from the third row and restore it. Then we make a pivot in the second column by dividing the third row by 2 and swap third and the second rows. And then we make a pivot in the third column by dividing the third row by 6 over 7. Then we multiply the third row by negative 1 over 7. Then we subtract the third row from the first row and restore it. Then we multiply the third row by negative 6 over 7. Thus, we subtract the third row from the second row and restore it. After we calculate everything, then we will get W equals to 1 over 3 Z, X equals to 5 over 2 Z, Y equals to 7 over 3 Z. If Z equals to 6, then W equals to 2, X equals to 15, and Y equals to 14. Then the chemical equation is 2C7H6O2 plus 15O2 equals to 14CO2 plus 6H2O.
Okay, for the third question, the equation given here is KCiO3 equal to KCiO4 plus KCl. Second one is X KClO3 equal to Y KClO4 plus Z KCl. K is X equal to Y plus Z. Cl is X equal to also Y plus Z. O is 3X equal to 4Y. So we have three equation here, which is X minus Y minus Z equal to 0. X minus Y minus Z equal to 0, and 3X minus 4Y equal to 0. So the matrix here is 1 minus 1 minus 1, then also 1 minus 1 minus 1 for the second row, then 3 negative 4 0. Okay, the first step is we find the pivot in the first column and first row. Then we subtract the first row from the second row. After that, we multiply the first row by 3, and then We subtract the first row from the third row, and then we restore it. And the next step is we find the pivot in second column, then we swap the third and second row. Then we multiply the second row by -1, and we subtract the second row from the first row, and then restore it. Okay, after that we get the x equal to 4z, y equal to 3z. Then if z equal to 1, x equal to 4, and y equal to 3. So the equation is 4KClO3 equal to 3KClO4 plus KCl.
Question 4. The equation is H2SO4 plus HI equal H2S plus I2 plus H2O and equal VH2SO4 plus WHI equal to XH2S plus YI2 plus ZH2O. And for H, the equation is 2V plus W equal 2X plus 2Z. Then convert to 2V plus W minus 2X minus 2Z equals 0. S, V equal to X and convert to V minus X equals 0. O, 4V equals Z and convert to 4V minus Z equals 0. I, W equal to Y and convert to W minus 2Y equals 0. And we convert these 4 equations into the matrix form, and we find the pivot in the first column and swap the second and the first rows, and we multiply the first row by 2. Then we subtract the first row from the second row and restore it, and we multiply the first row by 4 and subtract the first row from the third row and restore it, and find the pivot in the second column in the second row, subtract the second row from the fourth row, and we make the pivot in the third column by dividing the third row by 4, multiply the third row by -1, and we subtract the third row from the first row and restore it, and make the pivot in the fourth column by dividing the fourth row by -2. In conclusion, we get V equal 1/4Z, W equal to Z, X equal 1/4Z, Y equal Z. If Z equal 4, then we get V equal 1, W equal 8, X equal 1, Y equal 4. So conclusion, the chemical reaction will be H2SO4 plus 8HI equal to H2S plus 4I2 plus 4H2O.
Okay, the fifth question is Na2CO3 plus HCl equals to NaCl plus H2O plus CO2. By using this equation, we have to create five equations. There are Na equals to 2V equals to X, and C equals to V equals to Z, and O 3V equals to Y plus 2Z, and H W equals to Y, and Cl W equals to X. And after that, we have to convert all the 5 equations to equal to 0, and then only we can create the convert it to the matrix form. Firstly, we have to find the pivot in the first column and swap the second and the first rows, and then multiply the first row by 2. Next, and then subtract the first row from the second row and restore it, and after that multiply the first row by 3, and then subtract the first row from the third row and restore it. And after that find the pivot in the second column and swap the fourth and the second rows. And after that subtract the second row from the fifth row, and then find the pivot in the third column, inversing the sign in the whole row and swap the fourth and the third rows. Multiply the third row by -1, and after that subtract the third row from the fifth row and restore it. And after that find the pivot in the fourth column in the fourth row, inversing the sign in the whole row, and then multiply the fourth row by -2, and then subtract the fourth row from the second row, and then multiply the fourth row by -1, and finally subtract the fourth row from the fifth row and restore it. And finally we get the result: v equals to z, w equals to 2z, and x equals to 2z, and y equals to z. If z equals to 1, then v equals to 1, w equals to 2, x is equals to 2, and then y equals to 1. And finally we get the chemical reaction: Na2CO3 plus H2Cl equals to 2NaCl plus H2O plus CO2. And there are 5 chemical equations we took for our video presentation, and that's all from us. Thank you.